The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday in the Riv.
And it's going to be a fun week this week, people, so hang on tight.
Yep.
Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the rock and roll. Before we start the show, I want to first announce, maybe many people didn't know, Colin Powell, our former Secretary of State, our former first African-American Secretary of State, and former four-star general, passed away. He died from COVID, and he was fully vaccinated. That's all the information I have on it as of now. I'm sure more information will be coming out. Check your local news sources and see. But I thought that it was important to bring that up. I mean, yeah, he was a man that did a lot of work.
He was also 84 years old.
Yes, he was. So he lived a good, long life.
Yep.
If I could live so long, I'd be happy.
Wouldn't we all?
Exactly. Before I get into some of the lovely things, I had a few people who sent messages in regards to Friday's show because they did not believe that Paul Coogan sent an email saying the things that I read. Here's the emails. And it says right here, mayor.coogan@fallriverma.org. So for you doubters, there's the documentation. We have it. I also have the documentation on the sections of the charter that I quoted. So please believe me when I say something on the air that 99.9999999% of the time, I either have the documents in hand or I viewed them. So.
Well, come on, CJ. Come on. Believe you? You know political hacks can't believe anything. They actually believed that Joe Rogan took a horse dewormer.
There you go.
And it wasn't only some people. The FDA promoted that fallacy without doing any homework. The fact is that particular drug, the individual who created it won a Nobel Prize for that. Mm-hmm. And it is a medicine that was created for humans, not for horses. And the analogy that was used by the individual who showed the Joe Rogan tape when he had the doctor from CNN, and he had to admit that he doesn't know why they said that because it's a lie. They say that because it's a lie all the time.
Right.
The mainstream media manipulates fact all the time. The fact was that, great analogy, he said that's like saying that chicken is dog food because there's chicken in dog food. So now you're going to say you're eating dog food if you eat chicken.
There's also bison in some dog food.
That's right, bison and beef and everything else. Exactly. But I mean, that's how ridiculous it's become with people. So, and the irony is, you have about between 49 and 35% of the people that believe it.
Right.
So they're not going to believe you when you state fact. It doesn't matter that you actually have the email. Wow. They don't want to believe that Paul Coogan would do something like that. So,
I know.
I mean, I know you're asking for it, but I have to classify it as a totally rhetorical request.
Exactly. Well, as I said, it's going to be a bumpy week, and here we go. Both Coogan and Ponte have accepted 2 half-hour pre-recorded debates on Providence television stations, WJAR tomorrow, October 19th, and WPRI, which is Channel 12, on October 28th. JAR is Channel 10. So those are half-hour shows, and they will be airing at about 7:30, I believe. I know that on Channel 10 it's airing at 7:30. It's called Your Voice. I have a problem with the mayor agreeing to do a half an hour, quote-unquote, debate, because a half an hour you can't get any information out, because after commercials you got about 20 minutes. So it's not going to be a good scene. And of course, Paul will deflect everything because he'll pick on one word and that's going to be it. But our own station, in cooperations with We Suck at Radio, WSAR, are co-sponsoring a debate on October 20th at 6:30 p.m. It is closed to the public. It will be aired on Facebook. It will be aired on Channel 95, and I believe it will be aired on WSAR. But I'm not a representative of WSAR, so I couldn't tell you that. So keep your eyes open. Watch for these debates, because these are the only three that are going to happen, because the mayor refused to do a Lincoln Douglas debate on October 29th here at BCC, put on by the Democratic city and state committees. His own party is putting it on, and he won't do it. He's afraid because he has to actually ask the questions.
Well, you know, obviously he wants that. That's his campaign strategy. He doesn't have a record to run on. He's been in for 2 years and done virtually nothing. He hasn't been transparent. He hasn't done anything he promised, and we can go back to that in a second. But the reality is that's it. Stay under the radar, create as little, traction as you can, and just use your political levers and deals and to try to get in. Well, kudos to him. He gets away with it. Maybe the public will hold him accountable for, number one, what's that, like you said, what's a half an hour debate?
Right.
If he had his way to be a 5-minute debate, he'd agree to 3 5-minute debates. Mm-hmm. You know, if he truly had a record to run on, he would take every single debate and use that as a platform to show his record. And I know that you got it and I got it because somebody sent me something about a debate I had with him in this studio in 18 on the high school, and they said,
yes,
why don't you talk about all the promises he made and the guarantees he made about the price of the school? But you know something? That was in 18. And the fact is, he could get out from under that by saying, well, you can't control the costs of construction, right, and there are things beyond my control. So what I'm saying to those people, and I appreciate it, you can watch the thing. It's on YouTube. In my opening statement, I kind of forecasted what would happen now. I said basically that you can't just say that this isn't going to affect things down the road. It affects things that in 18 with tax rates and stuff like that with the override. But what he can be held accountable for is his performance as mayor, his lack of transparency, his complete, not a miscommunication, lack of communication, failure to cooperate, using laws and backroom deals. That's what he should be held accountable for. That debt override thing was a very long process, but it was a while ago, and you can make an excuse.
Yeah.
The problem is, as the mayor, let's look at him as the mayor and what he has done as the mayor and how he has done it, just as importantly as what he has done, or lack thereof, how he has done it. And abuse of the charter, calling for charter use, the email that you read and is actually there.
Imagine that.
So the Cooganites can then deny it again. They're going to say that you made it up. But the reality is he said, let's both abide by the charter. And he didn't. We'll see tonight. He is supposed to give the council information, and the charter was cited chapter and verse. He's not going to do it. And then you're going to call yourself the mayor that brings people together.
Well, and that's a big problem I have. Tonight is a special city council meeting, 6:30, I believe, in the chamber. The city council is asking for as many citizens to go to the meeting in person. They actually want you there because they want the mayor to see that people are concerned about their tax rates. This is a chance for you to get out and show your support or your dismay of this situation. Now, according to the email that was sent, and we spoke about it last week, Cliff Ponte said to me, apparently, oh no, excuse me, wrong email. He does not believe that the mayor will send anybody down to the city council meeting tonight, which will be in violation of the charter. So hopefully the mayor does what he says he's going to do by following the charter and sending somebody down. He also violated, if you read my weekend flush, he has violated the Public Records Act. And I cited chapter and verse of law and the CMR. And I said very clearly that the records access officer in Fall River is Allison Bouchard, the city clerk. That's where the requests go. They don't go to the mayor. They go to Allison Bouchard, the city clerk. And she is responsible under the law to get those documents to whoever requests them. So again, we're in a situation where we're going to follow the law. I don't know. Are we? Is this going to happen? This is a trying time for the public because a lot of people are getting to the point where they're saying, I don't even want to vote because I don't want to vote for anybody. Well, remember, if you don't vote, you can't complain. So get out there and vote. If you don't want to go to the polls because you're afraid of COVID or you're afraid of a flu or whatever the case may be, get a hold of the elections office now. File the paperwork to get a mail-in ballot. You still have time. You have 2 weeks. They'll send you the mail-in ballot. You fill it out, put it in the mail. They pay for the postage, and you're all set. I've already sent in my ballot. I'm all done. So I voted, so I can complain.
Well, I will vote. I always vote in these elections, and I'm looking at the possibility of him sending somebody down, not to give the information that's required, because remember, the charter says that they can ask questions and get clarifications. I mean, that's not verbatim. I don't have it in front of me, but the fact is they can do this. And he's going to say he's already presented him. He's already satisfied the charter, which is crap. But what he hasn't satisfied is, we're going to go to our roll one. I wanted to do this one verbatim. The Constitution of the state of Massachusetts, part of the first Article 5. All power residing originally in the people, and in case he doesn't understand that, that means the citizens of Fall River, and being derived from them, that means he gets it from us, the several magistrates and officers of government vested with authority, whether legislative, executive, or judicial, are their substitutes and agents, and at all times accountable to them. That's the Constitution of the state of Massachusetts, which actually was created before the United States Constitution, the first Constitution in the United States. So he has a constitutional duty to answer those questions because the legislative body are duly elected by the people, and they want answers that the people want. So let's see what happens tonight. Like I said, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a pretty rocky ride now, because I think there's going to be, hopefully, if he doesn't comply, the city council will take him to court.
I would hope so.
I hope they take him to court.
I hope so.
And have a court order him to comply with that charter and our Constitution, because, again, he's doing what he does best, deflecting and ducking.
Yep.
The double Ds.
I sent an email to City Council President Cliff Ponte, and I said, if you plan on having KP Law come in to discuss this issue, you need to put it on the agenda. So amend your agenda before the meeting. He's got all day to amend the agenda to put it on there if he plans on having KP Law come in. And something I want to remind people, when KP Law was acquired to be the council for the city council voted that the president and vice president of the city council shall determine when KP Law shall be utilized and shall so do or so enact. So, they don't need a vote of the council. They get a vote of the council out of respect for their colleagues, but they don't need one. They can just go without it. And that's the way that is. Because remember, City Council, you voted for it that way. There's been discussion on changing it several times over, but that was the way it was voted in. So that's your City Council rule at this point. And remember, the City Council rules are what makes up the rules for how you operate. And they can change only by a 2/3 vote of the City Council. Imagine that.
Amazing, yes. And I will make another suggestion. If one of the obstructionists that support the mayor try to object to this, as you said, they really don't need that vote. There shouldn't be any room for an objection. But based on that, and also based on another issue, I would rule it out of order. If I was the president of the council and one of the objectors attempted to obstruct the government, this is an important issue, and they're actually, this charter and this objection should have never been put in there, and shame on Mike Mioza, because anybody that doesn't look at this as a purely political section, it can't be used fundamentally for anything that's productive. Because when you object and that objection just stops debate, you're infringing on what government is supposed to be, a dialogue. And this has been used over and over again to delay governmental action, to impede the process. And you're the parliamentarian, you're the president. There's no parliamentarian at your meeting, so you therefore are the parliamentarian. If they want to object, they can object legally. But the fact is, I would just say, I'm going to rule that objection out of order. You're interfering with the process that is critical at this point in time. And it would go, because you know something? It's not only a tax rate. Remember, at the last meeting, the CFO admitted that they are discussing purple bags, trash fees, and the debt override.
And increased water and sewer fees.
And, well, of course, we know taxes and fees.
Right.
So just think of the bludgeoning that you're going to get by this administration if they implement any or all of those, in addition to that never-ending tax and fee increase.
And remember, the debt exclusion is twice. It's going to be twice what they predicted.
Yeah.
They predicted it to be $3.5 or $3.6 million.
Yep.
It's going to be like $7.
Yeah.
And that's going to increase your taxes.
And I think there's going to be a lot of debate about that particular increase, but the whole thing is just unconscionable. Promises made, promises broken on this school, promises made about holding the line when he ran for office, and I have never seen such abuse. And listen, this is bad enough. I mean, Fall River is one of the lowest communities in socioeconomic income. Now you're looking at over a 50% projected increase in your heating bills. Inflation is destroying everybody. Gas went up again. It went up 20 cents in 3 days, and I drove by the other day, it went up another 10 cents. So it's gone up 30 cents in less than a week. It's over $5 in some states already. there is a hidden tax on you. You're going to be paying 50%, at least 50% more for your heat, more for your electricity. They're talking about stockpiling everything because this inflation, by the government's admission and also by this city, our deficit will continue beyond next year. We will have a deficit. And the federal government has said that this inflation is, I saw an economist the other day say this is going to last for 3 or 4 years, this inflationary cycle. Then it'll be followed by a recession. So people in Fall River who are operating on a $34,000 and change household income, not individual income, retirees who are on a fixed income, how are they going to afford this thing? We're going to have a lot of homeless people. We're going to have a lot of people being evicted because they can't make rent. Because you think that the especially these absentee landlords who are buying up everything in Fall River, you believe that they're gonna keep their rent and not pass that purple bag fee, pickup fee, trash pickup fee, and everything else over to you, taxes and increase? I mean, this is a serious issue, and the council has every right to make this a major, major issue and get all the information they need. And if he doesn't show up, I don't know how anybody could justify a vote.
And you know, we know that Paul doesn't want to answer these charges or these allegations because it's an election season. And this is 2 weeks before the election. And I'm sure his team is turning around saying, Cliff's doing this to make you look bad before the election. I don't believe Cliff is doing this to make him look bad before the election. I believe he'd be doing this even if he was running for city council, because this is what needs to get out there. The people need to know. You can't just turn around and say, well, we're going to have a deficit and too bad, we'll deal with it later. We won't talk about it. That's basically what he wants to do. And the people are saying, and remember, Paul has said that he has gone knocking on doors and they've said, no, I don't care about the budget. I find that hard to believe. He may have found one person, a Cooganite, who said that. But I firmly believe that nobody said that. So I'm going to ask for documentation. Show me the addresses where people said they don't care about the budget. I'll go knock on the door and ask them. Okay? You always want documentation? I want the documentation. Show me where they've said they don't care about the budget so I can go discuss it with them. I want to find out. I want to find out why they don't care about the budget, and if I find out they're in the Highlands and they're making $120,000 a year, then I'll know why they don't care about the budget.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I was just going to say that he probably knocked on the doors of his banker and lawyer friends.
That's right.
The people he always talks about. Mm-hmm. Because apparently he doesn't have any poor people that are friends.
Right.
So that's the issue. The issue here is that, listen, Mary Sahadi said that. It wasn't the city council. And as you said, it's not only Cliff Ponte. I know that Michelle Dion talks a lot about taxpayers, and she really looks at the budget, and so do a lot of other councilors. This is the first council in a long time that throughout its tenure, I've heard a lot about the taxpayer, like they really care about the taxpayer. And guess what? Cliff Ponte would have done this, and Michelle Dion, and Sean Kadim, and Pamela Liberté, and all of them.
And Chris Peckham.
And all these other councilors, they would have been on this because of the fact that they are looking at it and its impact on the taxpayer. And this is a critical issue. And Paul is the great promiser. Mm-hmm. When he ran, he promised to be transparent, and he wasn't. He promised he was going to bring people together, and he didn't. Now he promised a minuscule reduction in your tax rate if he got in. It's kind of like Nancy Pelosi saying, don't worry about it, just pass the bill. We'll explain it after you pass it. So Yeah, and when we do, we'll give you a big giant jar of Vaseline after we explain it.
Which you'll have to pay for.
But, yeah, which you'll have to pay for in the bill. Probably like $100 a jar. But the fact is that this is an old political trick. You know, trust me. And you know the old adage. How can you tell a politician is lying? They're moving their lips.
That's it.
So, look, Mary Sahadi had to tell the truth. She's a fiduciary. She could not lie, because if that was exposed, she'd lose her CPA license.
And her law license.
And her law license, exactly. So, you know, you can't say that this is a fabrication. Mary Sahadi, his own CFO, said on camera that they were discussing purple bags, they were discussing trash fees, and the debt override, and of course fees and taxes, which is a constant. So, people, if you care about having anything after you might not even, you're just going to lose your house after you pay your heating bill this year anyway, because your heating bill is going to go up 50. I think the estimate I saw, but you can't hold it, but you say at least over 50. But I think they said the projected estimate right now is 54%.
Yeah.
54%. So you better hope we have a warm winter.
A warm
I'll
winter,
tell you,
exactly.
because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be in big trouble. Turn your thermostat down to 33. Yeah, a degree above freezing, so the pipes don't break.
So you can at least keep meat, you know?
Yeah, keep your meat in the living room.
Well, in regards to that inflation with the utilities, Citizens for Citizens is taking applications for heat assistance, fuel assistance, and that's for either natural gas or oil. This year, because of the ARPA money, for the lack of a better expression, or the ARPA plan, they have money to pay water bills. Imagine that. So if you qualify for low-income home energy assistance, that's what it's called, LIHEAP, you can probably get your water bill covered if you own a home, which is a nice thing, I'll tell you right now, because that can be a little bit of a relief for you. So consider it, because the income levels have changed. They're higher now. So you might qualify. So give them a call to find out, because that's definitely something that's important.
No, absolutely. I see we're running a little down, so I'm going to get something in so you can close as usual. And I open, you close. And just please watch the debates. Get as much information as you can. We always say, you can listen to us, but check everything we say. We check everything. And just watch the debates. The 2 half-an-hour debates, unfortunately, I won't cover a lot, but please watch the debate on 95 or on Facebook, and watch all the other debates. There's only going to be 3 out of the 6. Maybe there will be the other 3 with just Cliff talking to an empty chair. But the reality is, watch the debate and educate yourself. Get as much information as you can and cast a ballot based on issues, not on politics, please.
And not on his personality. Don't vote because you like the guy. Vote because the guy's going to do something for you, or the girl. I want to thank you all for watching. It's been a great experience as usual. We have a little bit more time, and I'll tell you now, this election is going to be a turner. It's going to be a major world turner for Fall River. The entire city will change its focus after this election on who is going to be mayor. Because whoever is mayor is going to inherit a financial catastrophe. And we need a mayor who will be honest to the public, who will be honest with the public, and who will tell the public exactly what is going on. Not a mayor who is going to hide the information. We need to have the truth, and we need to have it right away, and we need to be sure about it, because we have to set our budgets just like the city has to set his. And if we can't afford it, how can the city afford it? And that's what's going to happen here. Taxes are going to be outrageous, and we are going to be in for some trouble. I want to thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday.